Hello, welcome to the Vibrant Life Community Podcast. This is the official podcast of the Vibrant Life Community, and I'm Sarah Nolan, and I apologize for the audio cutting out there just for a bit. And I am a energetic management advisor for high performers, business owners, professional musicians, athletes, people who are really going for their dreams. They're all in and they're achieving more than they ever could have imagined. And I help my clients with the in the inner circle with the Recharge program, which is a 12-week program where you reconnect, re-energize, and reprogram so that you can come back to the person that you really are, the person who has been hidden beneath the stress, the overwhelm, and the burnout. You know, that person who really has such a higher capacity than you have been living out so far. And through that process, we talk a lot about, you know, our innermost stories and beliefs and how to transform those things. And this goes way beyond mindset. This goes deep down onto a soul level, which is really what you need to do in order to do things like start feeling more abundant with your wealth. And you know, the numbers have nothing to do with levels of abundance. Abundance is something that you find from within. You can feel, you know, more abundance with less money, which is actually really common. You know, the more wealth that people accumulate, sometimes the less abundant they feel, because, you know, sometimes it feels like there's still just not enough. There's always just not enough. Or sometimes it feels like, you know, there's more to lose now. So you feel like it's all going to be taken away. So this week I'm showing you guys how to, in 5 steps, start feeling abundant with your wealth. And we are on step 4 today, which is talking about releasing and creating a new story. So yesterday and the day before, we talked about finding out your exact internal story and beliefs about money. Your exact internal story and beliefs about money. And what's really interesting is attached to those stories and beliefs are emotions. So for example, if you have the belief or the story that there's not enough, there's going to be fear attached to that. So along with this pattern that just keeps being perpetually repeated unconsciously, it's like you consciously know. You can see in your bank account, you can see in your reports that there is well more than enough, but you don't get that feeling from the numbers. You get that feeling from your internal story. So with those patterns, with those stories and belief patterns, there are also emotional patterns that have just been replaying over and over and over on repeat and accumulating inside of you. And these emotions are influencing everything that you think, see, say, and do. There's this lens of fear over everything that you experience. So as we remove the beliefs and we remove the stories, then you can then open it up to remove that emotion as well. And all of a sudden, everything starts looking differently. Everything starts looking a little more hopeful and a little more satisfying and fulfilling. And it's easier to find gratitude because you've removed that layer of fear that influences everything. You know, I remember the first time when I first started doing this process for myself, you know, the version of it that I experienced initially, I didn't know that I had any fear. I'm a pretty fearless person. I didn't realize that I had fear until I had it removed, until I released it. And all of a sudden I felt like 1,000,000 pounds had been lifted off my chest. Everything looked brighter. Like visually, everything started looking brighter. And I started feeling like I could do anything. I can do anything. And it was easier to, like I said, easier to be grateful. If you ever have a hard time feeling gratitude, you know you're supposed to feel gratitude. It's like what everybody says you're supposed to do is be grateful, but you just can't bring that feeling to the surface, or it doesn't feel real. It's not because you're not doing it right. It's because there's something that is incongruent inside of you on a very deep level, and a level that you don't have the awareness of until you get the awareness of it. And then it all becomes clear and it all starts making sense. So this fourth step is to release that. You release a story. It's not just like writing a new story. You've got to release the old one, right? Release the old beliefs, release the attached emotions that have been accumulating and building up inside of you and influencing you, so that you can see the reality that like, holy crap, this is every moment is just overflowing with abundance. And you have that feeling inside of you so that you don't have the fear around money and you don't have that sense of scarcity, because you inherently know that there is always more than enough. Always more than enough, even when it seems like things might be falling apart, or things, there might not visually look like there's enough. That really there is more than enough. Even in the worst possible case scenarios, there is more than enough. And so when you go through this process of gaining that clarity and awareness and then releasing, it just naturally comes into your experience that you have this unwavering faith that there is more than enough. So releasing, in the next step is gratitude. And that's really the icing on the cake, right? A lot of people just go straight for the gratitude. But then it doesn't feel, it's not, in alignment. It's not congruent because there's other stuff hiding inside. So when we pull the other stuff out, the gratitude is so much more powerful. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this episode on how 5 steps to feeling more abundant with your wealth. I love helping you guys out with this stuff, and let me know if you have any comments or suggestions or feedback. I love to hear so that I can, help you even more. And we're going to bring it now to our Inner Circle Zoom call. So if you are with me live right now, then hang out for just a moment while I get our Zoom link. And if you're watching the replay, let me know, what is your biggest takeaway from this session today? What is your biggest takeaway? And if you would like to dive in more, you want to have a personal conversation about this, let me know, and I can set aside some time to chat with you. And if you, I don't know if you've seen it, but I am doing, like, just for this month, I'm doing this really special thing. So recharge ranges from $5,000 to $10,000 depending on how people do it, or goes up as much as $20,000. And I'm doing it for just $397 for 10 people. So if you want to be one of those 10 people, just let me know and I can show you how to do that. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to this evening, and we'll see the Inner Circle members in the Zoom call in just a moment.